Muted.
Okay, good morning and welcome again to another one of our Tuesday morning ACT webinars. I am your host, Stephen Bolden of 12.3, and today's topic is going to be on ACT mail merges between Word and Outlook for writing documents and letters to a contact. So let's get started. Some preliminary steps to making sure that your ACT is set up to be able to handle these mail merges. This is something that I always like to check first, and if you're taking notes, I always recommend you go to Tools and Preferences. Check under the Communication tab of your preferences and make sure that the word processor is Microsoft Word. It's recommended, and it probably is set there. If you set this before, it should stay set. Sometimes I see it reverts back to the ACT word processor. The reason that I have you check this, ACT is designed that it could technically work without Microsoft Office altogether. It has its own word processor built in and its own email client. I advise you in every way to stay away from it. Make sure that you're using Microsoft Word. So that's always making sure that your ACT is configured to do these mail merges. Also, if you want to be able to send these mail merges to Outlook, you should make sure that your ACT is connected to Outlook with the email and Outlook sync. You can run through this email system setup tab if you do not see the Outlook address book added here. So once you've verified that you're set up and ready to handle these mail merges, let's talk about what they are and what they can do. If I go under the Write tab up here in the top menu toolbar of ACT, we can write various objects to the contact. We can write them an email message, we can write them a letter, or a document from a template. These are the two we're going to focus on today, an email message from a template or a document from template. If I write them an other document from template, it pulls up my ACT templates folder. This is stored in my database files. Normally it's on your server, but if you have ACT on a remote database or it's installed on your computer individually, it may be on your own computer. But this will open up your ACT templates folder, and within it you'll see many ADT files. These are .act document templates. That's what ADT stands for. Windows will often associate them as being music or audio files. Ignore that. It really is not going to affect anything here. But you're looking for ADT templates, and that's what it's showing me here. So I went to Write Other Document from Template, and I have a whole bunch in here. You're going to see in your own, you'll have about a dozen or two sample templates that ACT comes with out of the box. That they make up things like these initial communication, needs assessment, presentation. They include these for you. And then I've also got in my folder plenty of other ones that I've customized over the years. If we write any of these documents and I double click it and choose it, such as this presentation one, I'll just choose here. The Merging Records window comes up. It pulls in information out of my contact record, opens up a Microsoft Word document, and it automatically filled in information for me here. This template that they've made, it's got placeholder text so that I can further customize this. This is just one of SwiftPage's templates. But what the neat thing that happened is if we looked at this template before I did the mail merge, you would have seen that this is just a placeholder that says put the contact's name here, put their company here, and their address. And you can do this with any fields in ACT. So I'm going to show you how we customize these. From here in Word, you can save this, you can print it. You actually have an add-ins tab up here in Word that connects to ACT. It has an ACT drop-down menu. And if I wanted, I could, record history. If I wanted to make sure to attach this document under the history. But you know what to do with a document. Send it to the printer, send it in the mail, whatever you'd like to do. I will not save this. Also, we can send the exact same document into Outlook instead. So I have Outlook open here. Everything closed up so that the internet doesn't see my email. If I go to write an email message from template, if I just choose write an email message, this just brings me up an Outlook window. New Outlook window comes up. It would be addressed to the contact within here. Because it's my own record, it actually doesn't put my email address in there when you're writing to yourself. But if I want to do an email message from template, then instead of just pulling up an Outlook window that's blank, I can use one of my templates. And if I choose the same one, like this presentation follow-up, it does its mail merge. And resize this window a bit here. It does the mail merge and automatically puts that in the message for me. So these two are very closely related. We've got email messages from templates and documents from templates. Both of them work off of the .adt file type. And one of them will just send the output into Word, or the other will send it into Outlook. Now to make a new one, let's say you don't want to use Switch Page's default template, you want to make one of your own. There is a new letter email template function. I actually always have just preferred to go into edit a template, and I'll explain why. I prefer to just edit an existing one, so I just pick any of theirs. And when I'm all done editing this in the end, I'm going to do a save as and save it as something new. I just find that that usually seems to work a little bit better than creating a new one from scratch. I've seen sometimes when I try to create a new one, it will save it as a .doc, a standard Word document, and you need to make sure it saves as a .adt. So here in my ACT document template, I have, sorry, I like this layout better. We can see what this looks like on the inside. Instead of having contact name in there, it has these placeholder fields where you specify what you're going to be merging in. And you'll see it just has more or field codes in there. I'm going to take their template and I'm just going to completely empty this out and start from scratch. This will be our demo template for our virtual users group. So I can say, dear, and then I'll go to my add-ins tab, ACT dropdown, show field list. That's an important one to take note of. If you're going to customize these fields, you want to be able to show the field list. That's in your add-ins, ACT, show field list. That brings up a window in Word that has all of the fields in our ACT database, custom fields and everything in between. We have fields for the contact record we're looking at, or also my record. But we'll look just at contact fields, and I'll say dear. I can say dear first name, for example. And if I double-click this and add it in there, and comma, oops, I pressed enter. I added it twice. Now you can imagine that when I run this mail merge template, it's going to pull in the contact's first name in there. I saw an excellent question. Ray asked if custom templates could be made and used by multiple team members. The answer is yes. All templates are shared across ACT databases. It's very, very wonderful that way. If you go under Write and then the other document, this templates folder, if you're very keen-eyed and see the path of where this is actually your database directory, your database name, database files, and then templates subfolder. Anything you create goes in here, and it would be visible and usable by any other ACT user. So if your database is on a network server, anything that you drop into this folder, everybody else would see. If you create a template from a remote database, it will actually synchronize onto the server as well. Very handy. So back, and I'll finish writing up this test message here. I've got dear first name, and I can keep putting in other fields in here. I can say, you are wonderful. Our records indicate that your CRM system is and I have a field in my ACT called CRM system. You probably do not. That's a custom one that we made. So when we write this out, it's going to fill that in for us. And we have other fields in here, but hopefully you get the idea. This can benefit, and I'll put the contact's company name in here too. Obviously, you would make up a very compelling sales argument or announcement if you were promoting an event or a presentation, in a mass email that you want to send out. Go on and build this together. Your formatting options for this are kind of limited. I generally advise that you try not to put images and logos in there. Images will merge in, but I find that sometimes they'll cause failures. This really works with almost a wonderful consistency if you have it in just regular text document. You can put in tables and rows and borders if you want. You can even put in some types of images and objects. They'll work fine when you send them to Word. They don't always come through if you try to use the same template when you're sending it to Outlook. So if you did want to put your company letterhead on top, that would work well if this document was only going to ever be used in Word for printing, but wouldn't always translate well into an email. But we would go ahead and finish building up our template. I mentioned that we have this drop down here. It says select field type. Right now we're putting in information from the contact's contact record, and this ties in with Ray's question here. So if I go to somebody's record and I say dear first name, it's going to put their first name in. Well, what if I wanted to make a template that I wanted everybody at my company to be able to use, but if I had at the bottom something like sincerely Stephen Bolden, now I cannot have everybody in the company using this because it's going to have my name on the bottom. I'd have to resave this over many times with every person's name. That's not very fun or easy. What we can do instead, if I erase that out, if I were to put the contact name here, well, this is going to put the recipient's name in there. That's not going to make any sense either. So we have here under the select field type, there's a drop down that says my record. And if I switch to that, I have all the exact same fields. The bottom half is going to look like nothing changed because it's still all the fields in the database. But now when I add this in here, it adds in something that says my contact. Now I know that when I send out this merge, it's going to put the recipient's or the target's information in for all of the regular fields that I see. But for any that are labeled as my, it's actually going to pull in my information for whoever's the logged in ACT user. This is how, if you wanted to make a standard template that everybody in the company could send out over and over, if you had an initial communication or a prospecting letter to follow up with, something that would be sent out with regularity, you could use the my field on bottom. Just to help brainstorm some more ideas, I helped a construction company out in Lockport. They have all of these subcontract agreements. Whenever they enter into a contract with one of their contractors, there's always a series of documents that they need to start sending out and following up. They converted all of their contracts into a Microsoft Word format, and I helped them embed all of the individual fields in there from the record, so that now whenever they go to an ACT record, they can just push easy buttons to generate documents to send to the person, and saves them a lot of time. I actually know another company that sells lifting equipment and forklifts. They send out quotes with these document templates. They've kind of made a letterhead and a proposal, and they've used the contact information to build a quote within ACT. So just some ideas to help maybe get the gears turning up there. When we have our mail merge template is all built up and we're happy with it, we need to save it. Like I told you at the beginning, I edited an existing template, so this template is still named 04 Negotiation Follow-Up. This is one of, again, ACT's default templates. I'm going to do a save as. I'm going to save it into my templates folder. Word automatically identified that this is where I am. This is another reason that I like to edit an existing template, because it will save it in the right spot for me. Well, here's the problem I was trying to avoid. I guess I'm glad that I at least saw it so that I can point it out to you because it happens very often. Word is trying to save it as a .doc. I don't want it as a .doc. I want it as an ADT. You're not going to see an ADT in the drop-down here. To get around this, I just manually change this to .act document template, .adt. But Word might still save this as .adt, .doc at the end. It's very kind of annoying. A way around this, another handy trick for those of you that want to do some more computer savvy stuff, if you put this in quotes, so I'm putting my entire file name in quotes, and this works for any file in Windows, then it will not put the .doc on the end. It's going to save it as an ADT and ignore the file extension. It'll save it as an ACT document template. If that was a little bit confusing, you can find that a different way. If you go into your ACT folder and go into your database files under your templates, this is the same folder we were looking at before. You could go into Write, Other Document for Template, for example, and see them in here. You can manually find your document in here and change the extension. That will work too. While I'm in here, if I look, I didn't give that a new name, did I? Oh well, I guess I ruined one of their templates. I would want to go into File, Save As. I'll repeat this again. I'll call this ACT Webinar December 2016 Demo.adt. And put that in quotes. Go ahead and close it out. Now if I'm looking at any contact record, for example, I will look up my father and company owner, Jeff. I can send Jeff a message by going to Write, a Other Document from Template. Scroll down, here's ACT Webinar, December 2016 Demo. It sends in the mail merge and pulls in the information. So there we have it. I can do the same thing with an email message. If I write him an email message from template, and here it is again. Outlook with ACT actually, did I choose the wrong template there? I think I must have misclicked on the wrong one. ACT actually uses Word to render the empty template with inside of Outlook. Kind of funny. But. All right, so that covers when you want to send an individual message to one person. Now we need to send out, what if we want to do 100 of these at once? Or 500? My advice is generally not to try to handle more than about 500 at a time. You can, but I have seen it sometimes crash. I have had experience sending out, 2,000, but at some point you're really going to bog down your computer. To send out multiple of these to many contacts at once, we have the Mail Merge Wizard here. This is a step-by-step process. It's going to walk us through how we can take a template and send it out in bulk to many contacts at once. So you go to Write and then Mail Merge. And the Mail Merge Wizard box appears. We'll hit Next. The first thing it's going to ask, do you want to send this to Word or to an email? So this is just, do I want to write it as a document that's going to, I can then work with it in Word and print it out, or do I want to send it as a mass email through Outlook, maybe for an event invite? The email that I sent out yesterday about this webinar was sent through Outlook, for example, with email. They also have a printer option. This will send it to the printer directly, but I don't like that very much. I would prefer to send it to Word and then just print it from there. So we're going to choose a word processor here for this first demo. I'll say Next. It's going to ask, okay, so what template do you want to use? Which ACT document template? I'll say Browse. Here they all are. I'll use my demo that I just made and press Next. It says, who do you want to receive this? So whose information are we pulling in here? I can do a current lookup of contacts. So that's handy if you already have a lookup made before you start this mail merge wizard. The current contacts that I'm looking at, I would just send out one to Jeff. All contacts, pretty much a big no-no, but maybe you have a reason for it. Groups are probably my favorite way to do this. I've made some demos in the past about ACT groups. I would recommend that you send it to a group is probably the best way to go about it. Or you can send it to a company of users if you want to send it to one company record with an ACT. I'll send this one to everybody at 12.3. This one, by the way, I should clarify, I'm not actually sending it. Since I did choose word processor, this isn't going to send to everyone. This is going to create Word documents for them. When I press finish, we'll see what happens. It loads up a one Word document. It's one document, but it's got 3 pages, each one individual for each contact that I sent to. And this is ready to be sent to the printer. I'd have to divide through these papers and sort them out myself. If your document was multiple pages, it creates one document for each contact. Or I'm sorry, it does one mail merge for each contact and appends them all together. It joins them together into one long single Word file for you. And I can repeat the same thing if I go to write, mail merge. Next, I'll do this one to email. So this is going to send it to Outlook. I'll keep using my webinar demo template. I'll send it to 12.3 again. It asks me, what is my subject for my email going to be? So it's going to go out as an email right away to contacts, and so I want to make sure that I have everything squared away before I send this. So I'm going to choose a subject for my email. I'll call this ACT Webinar Demo Testing ACT Documents. It will ask me, do I want to record history for the contact? Put it under the history that this email was sent? I absolutely do, but you can choose not to if you'd like. You even have an opportunity to attach files to the email at this stage as well. So if I wanted to throw, you know, a PDF in there, or there's just a random file I picked, you can attach a file to the email. So if this was some type of catalog or new introduction that you wanted to send out to every new contact, and you wanted to attach a file in there, there you go. You can even request a read receipt. I'll move on. The final step says, what do you want to do if the contact does not have an email address? I always leave it on the top option here. I just say skip it. You can do other options, say skip it, but make sure that you record a history that says it was unsent, or skip it and then show me who got skipped at the end, or cancel it altogether. But if I'm sending this out to a couple hundred people and somebody slips in that doesn't have an email, I say omit those records. So it's all ready to go. So I'm going to say finish. She merges in. I'll head to my Outlook. And here in my drafts folder, I've got my 3 emails got sent up as drafts. And if I do a send receive, away they go. I wonder where the Bob's didn't go out, but I'll send his manually. And there they are under my sent folder. We've got the 3 templates that I just sent out. So there you have it. That is ACT Word documents and mail merges in a nutshell. I'll open up the mic for any questions at this point.
Hi, Steve. It's Flo.
Hi, Flo. Good morning.
Hi. Good morning. I typed a question into the chat, but I don't know if you got it.
Oh, I may have missed it.
It's okay. My question is, can you scan, let's say you have a flyer and you want to do a mass mailing, can you scan a flyer into and create it as a template and then send that out?
That's something that would be better equipped for ACT marketing. Again, the images in a Word template. If you scan in the flyer, I assume that you're going to you'd have to get it into the ACT document format. And so just thinking through this, I think you'd scan it in. If you had the flyer and you just kind of screenshotted it or put it into a Word template as a big image, that would not send very well in Outlook for a few reasons. For one, the mail merge may not include the image well. And secondly, when somebody receives the email, Outlook will often block images by default, and they'll have to click on the box that says download pictures, and so they might not even see it. What you could do is if you scanned in the flyer and then you had it as a PDF format, or you scanned it into another file format, you could use the mail merge to have that as an attachment. So you write them an ACT template that would say, you know, it was a pleasure talking with you or meeting you. You write up your own introduction, but then you have your scanned flyer as an attachment, and you can tell them, please see the attached PDF, and maybe that would work better.
Okay, that sounds good.
If you really want the recipient to have the flyer directly to be the first thing they see, you'd probably want to try to recreate it within ACT marketing as a closest representation of that flyer as possible. Then it can be all pretty with colors and images and fonts the way that you want it to appear.
And is ACT e-marketing an add-on feature? Like something I have to buy additionally?
It's version 16.3 and above has, and which you have, has ACT e-marketing in it. I've done demos on it in the past, but it includes up to 500 contacts you can send out for free in the basic level per month, and you can expand beyond that. But yeah, it's a template editor that will allow you to design these templates and send them directly to your ACT database. It's very similar and competitive with Constant Contact or MailChimp. It actually can be better too. You do want to be careful. If you're going to be using these mail merges, it's worth mentioning to everybody. If you're using these and you're sending out mass emails to your database, you want to make sure that these are not unsolicited. Hopefully the contacts you are mailing in your database know you and respect you very well and would not mark you as spam. But if you do send these out directly through your own email, and you run this risk anytime you send an email to somebody, if they mark you as spam, and you get enough people that can do that, and it can be a very low threshold, something like 3 out of 1,000 emails that you send, if you get enough people that mark you as spam, then you can get your whole domain name blacklisted, which would be bad. So, you know, you certainly can keep sending out these email merges to your heart's content, but just be careful that if you're going to just send out, say I have this flyer and I want to send it out to everybody in my database, all 900 contacts, you might want to think twice about it and think, how well do these people know me and like me that I'm sending this message to?
Thank you.
Any other questions? Yeah, you're welcome.
Hey, Stephen, it's John.
Hey, John. Morning.
Any template that you create is available to all your databases. It's not database specific, right?
It is database specific, but it can be copied. That part's different. If I look again at this folder, if I go to Write and then Other Documents, so here are my files in here. They are shared in the templates folder across anybody that's in the T3 Steve database. But I could always directly copy this template. Actually, I'll use the one I used in the demo here. I can copy this template and move to a different database folder and drop it in there. And just paste it in, and now it's in that database as well. There's nothing about the core file itself that's married to the database, except for the custom fields. So in the template I made in my demo today, I said your CRM system is, and then I put the CRM system in there. This new database may not have a CRM system field in it, so that might not work for it. But you could still try. It would just come through maybe with a blank field there. Make sense?
Yeah, so every time you create a new database, a new template folder is created as well with generic templates?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Although it's also worth another side mention, you can certainly have multiple databases within ACT, but at least ACT Premium is designed very well so that I don't think you ever need to. But some people do want to keep separate databases for cleaning up junk leads, or if they have completely separate business ventures that altogether and they want 2 different databases at the company for it. All right, I will end the meeting for today. Thank you all for attending. We will be back next week.
Thank you, Steve.
And you're welcome. Enjoy your day and enjoy your week. Bye.
Bye, everyone.